Good morning or good afternoon, whenever you are watching this tutorial. I'm going to give a pretty quick summary of what all the network hospitalizations project entails right now. If you're watching this video, you've probably received an email that your facility has been enrolled. That means you were identified based on the data that we have from CMS as just needing a little additional support in the area of ESRD admissions. So in the email that you've just received, you will have an attachment in that email. If you do not have an attachment or you think there's been, if there's an error opening the attachment, please let me know. We have had some issues with our email and our attachments going through in the last month or so. So I want to be sure that you receive it. The first page of the document looks like this. It will have your facility's name and CCN number on it. And this is a general information about why your facility was selected for a project and how you'll utilize this document to go forth. The second page will go over your facility level data. This first section here, this is all of the data that we have from our baseline period, which was May 1st of 2022 through April 30th of 2023. So for that year of data, what you'll see here is what was attributed to your facility in terms of ESRD admissions. This does not include ER visits or 30-day readmissions. So this test facility had 12 ESRD admissions in that time period. I broke it down for you a little bit further. These are the categories that CMS is looking at for hospitalization. So I broke it down in that way to make it a little bit easier for you to see what we see when we receive the data. So I broke it down by each one, and then I put it in a pie chart so you can see this test facility here, a bulk of their ESRD admissions were related to infection. So because I'm a visual person, I included both the chart form and the pie chart form. So this would be your baseline period data. I also included your current admissions for this current measurement period. So the new measurement period started May 1st of this year. So we're a few months into it now. And from this time period through the most recent data that we have from CMS, which is through August 30th, if you had any admissions, I included those admissions here and then what they were, so that you can have a picture of how you performed last year and how you're currently measuring up this year. Now, please take into account that what we see for admissions and for hospitalization use at your facility is going to be different than what you see, because internally you track every single admission. So GI bleeds, falls, fractures, you track all of it, whereas CMS is only tracking the specific categories. And at the end of this document, there is a page of those specific diagnostic codes that CMS is tracking. And that's why what we have will look a little bit different or drastically different from what you see when you track hospitalizations internally. Facility goals. The reason why I included the baseline data here is because we look at how the facility performed last year and use that to determine what your goal is this measurement period. So for example, this test facility had 12 ESRD admissions last year. And so what we did is we just set the goal for a little bit lower. So we hope that this facility would not exceed 10 admissions for this current data period, which again runs May 1st of 2023 through April 30th of 2024. I also included a graph here of your current performance. So the blue bar here is going to be the baseline. That's again where how you performed last year. The goal is a red line here. So the hope would be that each month you would not exceed this goal line here. Now, to track your progress, every facility has access to an external dashboard. I included the link right here in this report for you. You can click on this link. I also included your login information to make it very easy for you to just copy and paste the username password into the dashboard. And it will pull up the dashboard. It will bring up everything. So it's not just going to bring up hospitalizations. You'll be able to track all of your measures that CMS is looking at. Now, interventions. So my hope is that you will look at these charts and this information here and say, okay, we tend to have an issue with infection. What's causing that? Maybe your facility is high on fluid overload admissions. Do I have a mistreatment problem? Really dig in and find out the root cause of the hospitalizations, and then use that information to select an intervention. You can select one intervention. You don't have to do a huge, multi-intervention. Try something that is feasible for your facility based on your staffing, based on your patient demographic, and that's what you will select as your intervention. Now, CMS and the NCC, that's our National Coordinating Center for ESRD Networks, has put together this hospitalizations change package, and I'm going to click on it and show this to you to give you an idea of what this looks like here. So this link will take you to a document. It is a pretty large document. I do not expect you to read through every page of this. What I would like for you to do is to, once you figure out the root cause of your admissions, come down to there's different sections here. So there's different drivers, there's different things that you can focus on. And as you go through the sections and kind of browse through them, they will give you, what your primary problem is and things that you should focus on based on that problem. So for example, if your problem is infection, there you can search for infection, and you can find certain things that you can do to address those things. So these are the change ideas or the interventions that you could select from. So this is a lot, search for keywords, search for, mistreatments. So search for things in this document that you think you could use as an intervention. Back to this document here. So once you go through that and you've decided as a team what you think you could implement, the only thing that you'll have to submit to me right now would be the first section of your PDSA cycle. So this is a table just to guide you on how to work through the PDSA cycle. When you click on this SurveyMonkey link, it's a short survey. It's not long. It's a few questions, so it shouldn't take you that long to do, especially if you've already come to the conclusion of what the problem is and what you plan to do. What you'll fill out in the survey is going to be the barrier that you came to the plan. So what intervention are you going to use to target the problem, what you plan to do, what you hope it produces, and the steps that you're going to execute to put the plan in place. What I do want to see is right here where it says, I hope this produces, try to include a specific measurement or outcome that you're going to achieve so that you can really measure it at the end of the PDSA cycle. So for instance, if you want to target fluid overload admissions and you think they're attributed to a lot of mistreatments in the clinic, what percentage of mistreatments do you want to decrease it by? So do you want to decrease mistreatments by 1%, 2%? You can aim small and start small and then increase from there. Totally up to you. Again, you know your clinic better than I do. and it depends on your patient demographic and patient attitudes and things like that. So take into consideration what you would like for it to produce and try to be as specific as possible. And then on the steps to execute, the population you are working with. So again, if you're going to target mistreatments, are you going to work with 5 patients? Are you going to work with, are you just going to work with 3 patients on their mistreatments? Try to be as specific as possible. And if there's any specific team member responsibilities, try to list those out to the best of your ability too. So, are you going to have the social worker go over additional transportation options with them? Are you going to have the dietitian go over fluid stuff with them again? What specific things are you going to do? The do, study, and act you cannot complete yet because you're just in the planning process right now. So there won't be anything to answer on this. More information will come about that in a few months when you've completed the intervention, and then you're going to see if it was successful. So when you click on the SurveyMonkey link, I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like. Oh, it is closed out, so I need to open that up. Give me just a second to do that. Okay, so I've opened up the form now so that you'll be able to access it. And when you pull it up, it will look like this. So again, it's pretty short. You'll put in your facility name, your 6-digit CCN number that's your Medicare certification number, and your name. And it follows that chart that's on this document here. So barrier and plan. So after reviewing the data and going over it with your team, be as specific as possible. And what do you feel like is the root cause of the hospitalizations based on what you see, what you plan to do? So what intervention are you going to implement to target the barrier listed above? What you hope it produces. This is where you'll put the measurement. And then steps to execute. So this is where you'll put specific steps of what you're going to do, number of patients you're going to work with, team member roles, etc. And that will be the only thing due right now. The only other thing that you'll be doing is once you have your plan in place, it'll actually be putting the plan in action at the facility level. This will be due on or before October 20th. So that will give you a few weeks to look at this document, go over it with your team, and decide what you're going to do. Then you can fill out the SurveyMonkey, and I will keep track of that. In a few months, like I said earlier, I will revisit your data, and then I will follow back up with you to see how the intervention went, if it produced the results that you wanted it to produce, and then we'll go from there. Now, as mentioned earlier, I did include a chart here of all of the ICD-10 diagnosis codes that CMS is looking at. So hospitalizations are pulled from claim codes. So when the patient goes to the hospital, whatever ICD-10 code the hospital puts in for that admitting diagnosis on the patient, if it's one of these codes, that's what then gets attached to your facility CCN, and that's how it ends up on our data set. So this is the document. This is a very quick rundown. If you have any questions about this, please shoot me an email or give me a call and let me know. I'm happy to help. If you're looking through this change package here and you're overwhelmed with it and you just don't really know what to select, I have some other interventions that other facilities are working on that I'm happy to share with you. If you're stumped on what you can really do about your situation or your patients, I'm happy to get on a call and talk things out with you. So I hope this helps. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for listening and take care.